Eventually, this is going to work its way right across the Galleria, right towards Memorial Park, very close to downtown within the next 30 minutes. And eventually, it looks like this may cross I-10 somewhere inside the loop. North of this rotation is oftentimes where we can see some very large hailstones. So right along the Katy Freeway into Spring Valley, Bunker Hill Village, Hillshire Village, into a large area of Spring Branch, some very large hailstones possible. And that will then work its way northeastward, tracking right there along the North Loop over towards Garden Oaks, the Acreage Homes area, and on into I-45 near Highland Heights. So we're going to continue to watch this rotating area very closely. It's a very large storm. Even though the area of rotation is where we could possibly see the tornado, the wind impacts with this will cover a very large area. And in addition to that, we have the potential for some flooding because we're seeing rainfall rates of 2.5 to 3 inches per hour, and that's the kind of rain that will quickly clog up the roadways, especially if there's a clog anywhere in the drainage network. So this is just the best time possible to stay inside until this storm clears. At the rate it's moving, it should clear out of Houston within the next hour, but there's a lot of heavy rain behind the leading edge of this that's going to continue to cause problems over the next couple of hours. So when you're going to continue to keep a close eye on this, we're also seeing that the rainfall at some gauges now I'm seeing coming down at over 8 inches per hour. It's not going to rain 8 inches, but at times it will be raining so heavily that if it were to sit for an hour, it would rain out 8 inches per hour. That's why it looks so dark outside with all that water falling out of the storm. To get you up to speed more on what's happening with the storm with Mega Doppler 13 HD, here's Casey Curry at the weather wall.
Good morning, Travis. I'm actually going to, if we can, go to one of our jam cams. We're really watching the west side of town because that is where we are seeing the strongest line of storms move on through. This is one of our Houston TransStar jam cams at the West Park at Chimney Rock. And you can see, you can barely pick out the cars. The rain, as you mentioned, is coming down at such a rate. And you can also see the slow movement of the vehicles. This should be a caution to you that this is not the time, if you are still at home, still at work, this is not the time to be out running errands. Just give yourself a little bit of time because we will see breaks out there today from some of the heavy rain, but right now it is severely coming down. This is another look. This is the West Park Tollway at West Park Drive. You can see that also very difficult to see. And if you look at the, and I'm going to step in front real quick just to show you, if you look right here at the light from the light on the freeway, you can really see those raindrops coming down. It's almost torrential. For a lot of you folks, when you're looking at this, this may remind you of some of those really heavy showers that we often see in advance of hurricanes. I mean, look at this tower there where the light is connected. You can see that the camera is shaking around, the light is shaking around, the lightning, you can see all of that in the background. So this gives you a bird's eye view of what folks over on the west side of town are dealing with. Not a situation where you want to be out. We not only have the tornado warning in effect until 9:45, we also have the severe thunderstorm warning effect for parts of our area. We also are continuing to see the dangerous lightning. Here's a live look from our Tower Cam HD. We are looking out over the Southwest Freeway. Towering cumulus clouds out there where we are just watching heavy, heavy rain. The potential also for rotating storms. So far, we've had a couple of reports of funnel clouds. You can see the very dangerous lightning in the distance. Now, let's get you, we'll just watch the camera move around just a little bit. It's panning from the west side of town, pushing up to the north just a little bit. You're still looking at kind of the general southwest side of town, but that's where we're seeing some of the heaviest lightning and thunder. And this is the heart of the storm that's pushing through as you are watching it on our Tower Cam HD. A live look this morning from the camera that sits really just right above our stations here at ABC 13. Now let's get you to live Mega Doppler 13 HD. I want to just quickly get you an update on what we're seeing out there on the radar. And just a reminder of where this storm is headed. We put Future Track on this, and it's one of our great tools because we know where the storm is headed. We know what direction it's moving. We also know how fast it's going. So we know that this cell, the leading edge, is moving to the east-northeast at about 25 miles per hour. So what we're able to do is calculate where this storm will be in the next few minutes. So right now, right over Memorial Park, right over River Oaks. In 4 minutes, it will be in the Montrose area. 5 minutes at the University of St. Thomas. And as you can see, we can't possibly list every single community, every single neighborhood, but you know where a lot of these neighborhoods are, and in relation to where you sit this morning, into the Studemont area, downtown, 9 minutes, at the GRB in 10 minutes. So you can see this is a very quick moving system, but it also extends down to the south and to the west. And so there are locations here down towards Sugarland, Richmond, Rosenberg. That part of the system is still moving off to the east. That will move into Missouri City. It will move into Pearland. It will move into the Hobby Airport area. But the most dangerous part of the system is right along this leading edge that's pushing right through the 610 loop as we speak. This is the most dangerous part of the storm. That's where the rotation would be located if we're going to see it for the most part. So that will be the most dangerous part. Now let's get you back to live Mega Doppler 13 HD. This is Weather Source 4 this morning. And we'll kind of show you what's going on. Lightning strikes, we're looking right now at in the hundreds. We're looking at more than 500 strikes in the last few minutes. I want to quickly give you some perspective because we've talked a lot about this very dangerous section here moving out of Fort Bend County, now pretty much all within Harris County. That's that potential tornadic portion of the cell. But we've seen scattered heavy rain and storms stretching from north of town, now northeast, up around Livingston, all the way through parts of Montgomery County, and this line now extends back into Wharton County as well. So we're going to still watch some of these areas, especially to the west of town, for more potential for rotation. So let's zoom in a little closer here as we put things into motion. We are very much watching not only the severe thunderstorm warning, that's the box that is shaded here in the yellow. That is kind of the lesser category of severe weather. Certainly going to see damaging winds, certainly going to see the large hail, but also continuing to see the very heavy lightning as well. But the area that we're seeing here shaded in magenta, that is the tornado warning that stays in effect till 9:45. That's what's the very dangerous part of this storm, and we'll continue to watch that race off to the east. Now let's get you over to meteorologist Travis Herzog.
Yeah, Casey, we're going to go right back to our Houston tower cam because we're actually capturing the rotating part of the thunderstorm. It's difficult to make out right now, but occasionally when the lightning flashes, you can see the rotation of this thunderstorm. Visibility is down to near 0 miles in this blinding downpour. Let's see if we can catch a lightning strike here to give us some illumination on this rotating cloud as it passes through the west side of Houston. We are located just inside the west loop along Highway 59, right across from the highway from where Lakewood is. That's our location here in southwest Houston at Buffalo Speedway and Bissonnette. It's just a blinding rain, folks, and that makes this even more dangerous. The fact that with this kind of storm, the rain is so heavy in the rotating part of it, we could have what's called a rain-wrapped tornado. Those are very dangerous because they're difficult to see due to the blinding effect of the rain. And the lightning's not really helping us out here, but I promise you, folks, we're looking right across the Greenway Plaza right now. We're just a few blocks away. We can't even see that. You can barely make out some of the lights here. Let's go to some jam cams that we have as well to show you along the West Park where this very torrential heavy rain is tracking in. This is the West Park at West Park Drive, and you can barely make out the vehicles there with this rain coming down, and again at a rate sometimes so heavy that if it sat on top of you for an hour, it would dump 8 inches of rainfall. We also have some pictures coming in, our eyewitness photos coming in here as well. You can send those to us at news@abc13.com. We're going to pull up some of those for you. This is what happened after the storm came through. The rain water's extremely high here. Note that a lot of subdivisions in southeast Texas are designed to flood the streets so that the homes do not take on water. So the drainage system working as designed there. No water up to the homes, but you can certainly see all the way up to the headlights on that van. Let that be a reminder. Do not attempt to drive your way through any flooded roadway that you see. Turn around, find a different alternate route, but you're probably at home watching this right now. You're exactly where you need to be. Stay put as this possible tornadic supercell thunderstorm continues to move across the city of Houston. Walker, where were these photos taken again? This was at Westheimer's Lakes North, so near Katy, in the Katy areas where this is as the storm passed through. Folks watching in Katy, you're in the clear now. The worst of the storm is over. It's now along the west and southwest sides of Houston into eastern Fort Bend County. Torrential downpours falling down in Sugarland, Stafford, near Missouri City as this storm tracks its way in an eastward fashion. We'll go back to show you some of the rotation here of the thunderstorm. Pull up my weather source on Weather 1, and we're going to get a broad overview. You can see torrential lightning. Let me take the lightning and I'll try to reduce the clutter on this. I'll zoom down a little bit here. It's where you see that yellow arrow that says early right along the west loop. That's where we've had the persistent area of rotation. We're also starting to see some other areas of circulation popping up on what's called the southern flank of this storm. What that is indicating to me that we're starting to see some very gusty winds develop along this southern portion of the storm. We could see some brief spin-ups of tornadoes, but most likely we're going to see some very heavy gusty winds now pushing southeastward into Sienna Plantation, towards Fresno, towards Pearland. Those of you that live along the South Beltway as this storm works its way in that easterly fashion. It does look like this is transitioning into a very heavy rainfall event for folks in western Harris County and West Houston. The main rotation area now along the west loop. We showed it to you on our tower cam a few moments ago when Casey was at the weather wall, and we're also seeing this continue to track right along, just north rather, between Highway 59 and Interstate 10 inside the loop now, moving directly toward downtown. We'll go back to Casey Curry at the weather wall for the latest.
Well, you mentioned the flooding. We're seeing the terrain.
Now's the time to make the switch to Xfinity Voice. Only keeping in touch and staying in touch have never been easy.
600 strikes just in the last few minutes. But of course, it is that tornadic, that potential tornadic part of the storm that has us the most concerned this morning. We've seen some very strong, damaging straight line winds. We had trees down this morning, even without really a funnel cloud or even a tornado up into Brazos County. Just to the north of the Bryan area, we had some trees down. Also up north into Trinity County, a whole cluster of trees down there. So even for those of you that are not included in this severe thunderstorm warning or the tornado warning, you still are in a very dangerous situation today, because not only do we have the heavy torrential downpours of rain, the dangerous lightning that it's knocked out power at some point this morning to more than 3,000 people, but now we also have the damaging straight line wind. So even without the rotating portion of a thunderstorm headed your direction, you still have a very dangerous situation. As we put things into motion, zoom in a little bit here, as we've been talking about kind of the leading edge of where that rotation is on the far west side of town, edging now just inside the loop and headed through the west side areas like the Galleria, Bel Air, West U. This extends on down towards the Sugarland area and now beginning to push into the downtown Houston area, moving off to the east very quickly at 25 miles per hour. So it's moving super fast. So now is the time, if you're within at all this warning area, and by the tornado warning area, you can clearly pick it out. It's this kind of magenta, kind of pink watch box, stays in effect for at least the next few minutes. The box that's on the outside of that, the yellow box, that's the severe thunderstorm warning. That's a little bit of a lesser category, but still seeing tons of severe weather. Typically encompasses a little bit of a larger area as well. I want to just kind of highlight here that we are seeing torrential downpours, and you can see the bright reds, the bright magentas stretching all the way from areas like Rosenberg through Richmond, through Harlem, up to the Sugarland area, First Colony Mall, Highway 6, now on the west side of town. This right in this region here is where we think we've got the rotation going. We've seen it on the tower cam, at least intermittently through those flashes of the lightning, giving us just a little bit of a view. Our concern this morning now is that we really are depending very much on the radar, because a lot of times you can pick out rotation by visibly seeing it. The problem this morning now is the rain is coming down so heavy that we're getting a rain wrap situation where the rain is obscuring, the wind and the rain is obscuring anything that we otherwise might see. So the showers and storms, they continue well to the north, but by far the severe weather threat is really over on that west side of town. Let's slide to the south really quickly though, because we do have storms back over Sugarland that will be pushing towards areas like Alameda, Pearland, Hobby Airport, Pasadena, Galena Park. So while you're just now seeing kind of moderate rain showers, you will likely see all of this heavy rain, the rain that's coming down at a rate of anywhere from 3 to 8 inches per hour. That's all headed your direction. Let's move on into the downtown area, because just now are you beginning to see the roughest weather. We are watching the rotation on the west side of town. We're also watching the very gusty, damaging straight line winds. And all of these storms have a history of dropping trees and no power lines just yet that we've heard about, but we are seeing the torrential flooding Also within the downtown area, we'll continue to watch for the heavy rain. So this flooding issue may become even more of a threat over the next half hour or so when we start to get what's over on the west side of town really pushing towards the downtown area. Of course, as everything pushes off to the east, it's got to get you folks on the east side of town as well. So right now, light rain from Beaumont Place down through Galena Park, through Pasadena, down towards the Ellington Field area. But of course, with all of this pushing to the east at about 25 miles per hour, that does put it into your area just within the next few minutes. Let's switch sources. Actually, let's go out to one of our jam cams. Can we do that? Do we have any Houston Transtar jam cams that we can show you? Nope, that's okay. Oh, here we go. Katy Freeway at the West Loop. I just want to give you a visual. Compare that to what you're seeing on the radar this morning, because it really is coming down. It's slowing traffic down. If you can at all delay your travels this morning, you really want to do it. In fact, the entire day, you're going to want to limit your travel, but definitely want to be watching the radar to kind of pick your times when you can be out and about. As you can see, as the cars drive by, you're seeing the water kind of splash up, especially there with that car right in front of the big rig, really coming down at a very heavy rate. We've got totals on the ground anywhere from 2-3 inches to probably more than that. As we look out from the West 10 Loop at Westheimer, this is a little closer into town. It looks like they're getting just a little bit of a break from the heavy rain, but the roads are super wet. Traffic very much slowed down. The lights, you can see everybody's got their headlights on. It is pretty much like nighttime out there because of the dark clouds and the very heavy rain. Let's get you to one more source, Weather 3, because I want to quickly show you Future Track. We use this tool to give you an idea of where storms are headed. What we know about this storm is where it's going, how quickly it's moving, and what direction it's moving. And so we're able to calculate where we think the storm will be kind of on a timeline. So the leading edge of the system, as you know, on the west side of town. So I'll step away so you can get a good look at that blue bar, and that's going to highlight some of the communities where this storm will be passing through. And of course, we haven't done it for the whole length of this storm, but the most tornadic part of it, the part where we think the best chances rotation are, that's right through the west part that will be moving through the downtown area. So Pleasantville in 11 minutes, headed towards North Shore in about 24 minutes, and in about 25 minutes headed towards Beaumont Place. You can see into Channel View over on the east side of town in 34 minutes. Now let's get over to meteorologist Travis Herzog with an update.
Casey, a bit of good news here. The National Weather Service has allowed the tornado warning to expire for Harris and Fort Bend counties. A little bit early, in fact. This is what you now would call a high precipitation supercell. A supercell is a rotating thunderstorm, and it is going to transition quickly here into a flooding event as it moves across the highly urbanized areas of the city of Houston and Harris County. So again, the tornado warning has been allowed to expire. We'll await to see if they do a reissue, but right now it looks like this is transitioning more into a gusty wind, large hail, and torrential rainfall / flooding event as it works its way now into the east side of Houston, now along the I-45 corridor, the leading edge of it, both the North and Gulf freeways, and continuing to push eastward. We're also noticing a lot of moisture feeding into the storm. You see those pockets of rain on the bottom left-hand, or rather bottom right-hand corner of your screen, feeding into the leading edge of the main thunderstorm that's right over the heart of Houston. That's a sign that we are going to continue to see torrential downpours as it tracks its way eastward. We got a report from Andy Sirota, just emailed in, our reporter Andy Sirota, saying Beltway at Woodway exit ramp is shut down due to 8 feet of standing water as a result of this storm. I'm monitoring some of the rain gauges as well across Harris County, and we're seeing in 1 hour alone 3.5 inches of rain there along the Katy Freeway outside the Beltway has fallen in the past hour. So some extremely high rainfall rates along with that. In fact, I'm going to switch over to a product that gives us estimated 1 hour rainfall totals. And as you get farther to the left where the storm's been raining longer, you can see these rainfall estimates coming in here close to, let's see, it's the computer is thinking right now about what it wants to show me here. But it's showing over 2 inches, 1 inch. So we're looking at 2 to 3 inch pockets right here. And then as we advance it out in time, what you'll notice here is that area is spreading eastward now into the west side of Houston as the storm progresses eastward as well. So everything here moving in an easterly fashion. The area of rotation still persists. But again, all along, this has been a Doppler radar indicated tornado. We had one report of a funnel cloud as it moved through Sugar Land, but no confirmed reports of a touchdown anywhere. And again, the National Weather Service has allowed the tornado warning to expire. But again, we are seeing We are seeing very heavy rainfall now. We are under what's called an urban and small stream flood advisory, which means that if there's a low-lying spot around your neighborhood that you know of that typically floods, it's probably flooding right now if you've been experiencing this heavy rainfall. I know many of you there on the east side of town, along the Ship Channel from Pasadena to Cloverleaf over towards Baytown, have not yet received much rain. Trust us, it is moving your way. This is going to dump a tremendous amount of rainfall. We could be looking at 3 to 4 inches widespread as the core of the storm tracks right across the city of Houston. So we have the rainfall threat with the flooding potential. There's no need to be on the roadways unless you absolutely have to be for an emergency situation. Sit tight for at least the next hour while this thing blows on through. There's also the threat of some gusty winds. We're noticing a lot of rotation along the southern edge of the storm. So if you look down here, you see all this cluster of these rotating arrows. Now, what we're not seeing is that they're stacking